What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me right here at my YouTube channel. This is where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we'd love to talk about. Movies, video games, comic books, and TV shows. And right now, I want to talk about Home Sweet Home Alone. That's right. It's the sixth Home Alone movie. Just came out on Disney Plus about a week or so ago. And I'm going to make an argument here that most people are going to disagree with. But, I'm going to make it anyways. Here we go. Home Sweet Home Alone isn't as terrible as people are saying. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's a great movie. It's not. But it's also not awful. Let me explain. So the movie is about these two bumbling husband and wife characters who are not bad people. They're not bad people, but they cross paths with the Kevin McAllister of this movie, played by the kid from Jojo Rabbit. And they think that he stole something from them. And they're down on their luck, the husband lost his job, and they need money, otherwise they're going to lose their house. So they think that the kid stole a doll of theirs that's worth like $200,000. I mean, what kind of doll is worth $200,000? I don't know, but that's fine. They think that the kid stole a doll that's worth like $200,000, and they need to find him and steal it back. And that leads, obviously, to them having to break into his home. Oh, by the way, he's been left home alone when his family went on vacation and accidentally left him behind. The kid's name is Max. And for whatever reason, the director of this movie decided to focus, the director and writer, decided to focus on the thieves rather than the kid. The kid, Max, he's very much a supporting character in this movie. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of Max in this movie, but it really is about the two bumbling thieves. And it's... Let me see if I can figure out... The guy from Deadpool, is this the normal guy from Deadpool? Rob Delaney. He is the husband, and then Ellie Kemper from The Office, she's the wife. For whatever reason, they decided to focus on them, and for whatever reason, they decided to make them very sympathetic characters. And that's all fine and good until the end of the third act, when you see them basically get tortured by Max. Alright, you can't watch this movie and not feel bad for the two thieves. And that is kind of a different take on the Home Alone idea. Because at the end, when you have the traps, you want to see the bad guys get mutilated. And in this one, it was like, there's a scene where the Rob Delaney, he takes a pool ball to his head. And you're like, whoa, that would have killed him. And it's not something you're laughing at, it's something you kind of feel bad for. But yeah, you just kind of have a problem watching these guys get mutilated. So there's some very big weaknesses in this movie, and some very odd decisions that they decided to make when making Home Sweet Home Alone. They, for whatever reason, decided to make the thieves sympathetic, and that took out a lot of fun that we had when it comes time for the traps. This is a Home Alone movie. We know we're going to get the traps at the end, and it really took a lot of the fun out of those traps. So why am I defending this movie? Why am I saying it's not as bad as you think? Well, when I look at Home Alone sequels, there's Home Alone 2, which was very much a carbon copy of the first one. but it still had the heart of the first movie. There was a sweetness to it, and a lot of that came from the cast. You know, Macaulay Culkin, Catherine O'Hara. You know, this cast had a sweetness to it, an authenticity to it. And then you get Home Alone 3, which was just dull. It tried to be a spy caper, and it just came off as a very dull movie. Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House. Literally, I'm not even lying, one of the worst movies ever made. One of the worst movies ever made. And then Home Alone 5, The Holiday Heist, was better than 3 or 4, but it still didn't have the heart, and it still didn't really understand what a Home Alone movie was. Even when we got to the traps at the end, it didn't feel like a Home Alone movie. It felt very neutered, it felt very basic, it felt very safe. This movie, Home Sweet Home Alone, for all of its faults, and it has a lot of faults, it more or less felt like a Home Alone movie. It had the DNA there. It tried to have the heart. Now, whether they succeeded or not, that's very subjective. I think that there's levels of succeeding, but also probably more levels of failure as far as the heart was concerned. But it also wasn't afraid to have the family leave him. You know, after part 2, every Home Alone movie, they're like, oh, we can't have the family leave. That's bad. You know, we can't make our parents be bad parents. Like Home Alone 3, he had chicken pox and his mom had to go to work because, you know, had a really mean boss. You know, there's even a part where she was like, I hope you know you're making me decide between my job and my kid who's homesick alone. You know, it just felt disingenuous. Home Alone 4, again, not really being left alone. Home Alone 5, the parents get stranded on top of a mountain when they left for a couple hours to go to a work party, and they get stranded with this huge, massive snowstorm. It felt very convenient for the sake of getting mom and dad out of the house for a little bit. Whereas this one, it has the same beats. It has the same DNA of a Home Alone movie. He's literally left by his family by accident. They didn't mean to leave him. And honestly, the contrived way that they came up with leaving him, it felt believable enough, especially in this age of technology, where communication is very easy. It honestly felt believable enough. You know, was it completely believable? Nah, but it felt believable enough where if you suspended your disbelief a little bit, you could believe that this kid got left behind. And then we go through the beats where he's left home alone and he gets to do the stuff that every kid wants to do when they're left home alone. You know, they eat the junk food and play around the house and do the things that they're not allowed to do when parents are home. We had the transition in the kid where he starts to miss his family and wants his family back. And we had the traps at the end. Again, where this movie went different, though, was focusing on the thieves. That was a big mistake. That was a big mistake, and it might keep this movie from it might keep this franchise from continuing. But all that being said, I have to come to the defense of this movie for 2 reasons. Number 1, it hit the beats of a Home Alone movie. Was it as good as 1? Was it as good as 2? No, it wasn't as good as those movies. But it still hit those beats. It hit those beats without having the heart. It hit those beats without having the same heart. Number 2, it was actually set in the Home Alone universe as the first 2 movies. You know, Buzz McAllister, he makes an appearance. There's callbacks to Kevin. Kevin is actually name dropped. There are connections that this movie has to the first movie. Now, they're very superficial, they're very manufactured just for the sake of having those connections, just for the sake of being able to say, yes, we are in the same universe as the original 2 Home Alone movies. They're very superficial, but those connections are there, and because of those connections, it still feels more of a part 3 than 3, 4, or 5 ever did. And because of that, I have to come to the defense of this movie. Now, like I said, it's not really a good movie. The mistakes that they made with the criminals was just too big to overcome. You know, we loved seeing Harry and Marv get their faces bashed in because they were bad guys. We knew that they were there to hurt Kevin. So we were able to cheer when we saw the top of his head get taken off with a blowtorch. We're able to cheer at that. but we can't cheer for people who are genuinely good people and just trying to get something back that was taken from them. So, yeah, there's problems in this film, and problems that it could never overcome. But that being said, you know, the Home Alone franchise has created a very low bar. A very low bar. With part 3, part 4, and part 5, it created a very low bar, and this one got over the bar. It didn't even approach the height that part 1 and 2 got. But at least it cleared opening height. You know, talking from high jump terms, I'm a track coach. Talking from high jump terms, part 1, it jumped 6'2". Part 2, it jumped 6 feet. Home Sweet Home Alone, it cleared opening height. That's it. It cleared opening height. 3, 4, and 5 didn't even get over the bar. So take that what you will. I can't give this a good grade, but I can say that there are worse movies out there to watch if you're looking for a family movie over the holidays. Now, if you've never seen Home Alone, do yourself a favor and watch that one instead. It's a much better movie. Home Alone 2 is a much better movie. Much better. But there's worse movies out there than this. So, I have to be that guy online who comes to the defense of Home Sweet Home Alone. Bring on the hate, guys. All right, guys, what did you think of Home Sweet Home Alone? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your take on it. While you're down there commenting, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And as always, thank you so much for joining me right here at the LQ Review, where we get to talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Hey guys, it's LQ with the LQ Review. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me.